Hi everyone, thank you so much. So we're here to answer this question, what can save the Amazon? So there's two pillars that I think are more or less untapped that we can really dive into to get to the heart of how we can save the Amazon, which of course matters so much here. So to start, let's actually go into the Amazon itself. We're going to start here and go into the Amazon itself, into Brazil. We're going to go actually into the forest itself and actually listen to the sounds. Because when you go in the forest, it's the sounds of the forest that hit you. Can we turn it up? Turn up the sound? Yes. There we are. Even more. Let's turn it up some more. Now, when you're there, you can hear insects. There's birds. In fact, this is a spectrogram. This is how we visualize the sound itself. At the top, you can hear some frogs, actually. You can see some frogs. You can have insects at the bottom. Some katydids, some birds, some monkeys in there as well. And then, unfortunately, underneath a lot of this, here's a frog coming up. We know that, of course, the Amazon is under threat. And as we listen in here, what you can also see and hopefully hear as well, are some chainsaws at the very top right of the image as well. So even in a very vibrant, very connected forest, what you're finding is that the forest itself is under threat from deforestation. So how do we actually stop some of this deforestation? Well, let's take a look at one of the ways, going back into the same Amazon. One of the important pillars of this is the indigenous tribes that are there. In fact, let's go into one. This is the Tembe tribe in the state of Pará. This is their territory. It's about 2,500 square kilometers of forest. This is the Tembe themselves. There's about 1,500 of them in that community themselves. And this purple area in 2015, we started working with them, was entirely occupied by illegal loggers, settlers, drug cartels, and the rest. But the Tembe themselves, just going from town to town, run into these full-scale trucks, very large-scale operations. They could only just sort of get out of there as fast as possible. Not many chances to stop it. But the Tembe themselves knew that their existence was tied to the land. Of course, this is legally recognized by the state, and so they trained 30 young rangers to be able to stop it. So we actually worked with them to develop a technology here. The moment their chainsaw goes off in the forest, the sound's picked up by a device that sends to the cloud that sends an alert to local rangers who on their phone, they get an alert and they actually can get out there on their motorcycles and stop these loggers on the spot. Of course, the people themselves are the important part, and technology and connectivity plays a role. The device itself goes in the forest. It's actually just based on old smartphones. Just an old smartphone that connects to networks that are already there and can listen to the forest, because sound, as you heard, is so important. Of course, with solar panels and microphones to be able to make a difference. And the Tembe themselves, this tribe is able to put these devices together themselves. That's what's great about these tools. These are actually fairly adept and technologically advanced individuals who can put these things together. This is the chief's son, Alivar Tembe, who's putting this device together with old smartphones. And then, of course, there's actually cell phone service on the outskirts of these areas, but perhaps sometimes 15, 20 kilometers from the areas that they need to be. But if you climb tall trees, there's tall trees in the Amazon that you can climb to the top, 50, 60 meters up, and pick up cell service from very far away. And the Tembe themselves, these tribes are able to do this themselves. So they can build the devices, they can do the vigilance and protection, and they can install them. It's possible this is a fully self-capable group. So how does this work again? The moment the chainsaw goes off in the forest, picked up by a device, transits through the cloud, and they're able to show up on the stop. What does that look like? Well, there's an app they get that allows them to both hear and verify the chainsaw alerts. Again, every community out there has smartphones, and the connectivity exists, so they're able to use their own techniques to be able to get in there and stop it. Of course, stopping it is the big question. So in that case, the alert that you would have just seen allows them to get to the end of this road where this logging truck is on the way out. And on the outskirts, there are the Tembe themselves. They are able to, of course, capture the trucks that you saw, burn them, take out the tractors. And this is a group that's able to completely, on its own, protect its land with the right tools and the right autonomy. They can't arrest the folks, but they can push them out, and with technology and tools, they have it there. This is the first pillar, the indigenous groups that are in the forest themselves. Of course, this really matters because climate change is highly affected by illegal logging, deforestation, and logging itself, legal logging is what leads to these roads. These roads themselves are the cancer that leads to the wholesale destruction of the forest. If you can stop the roads, you can stop the wholesale destruction of the forest. And if you can stop the illegal logging, you can stop the roads. So those people are so critical to that. They could be the fastest, cheapest way for us to fight climate change if we give them the right tools. But of course, it goes well beyond just Brazil. We expand this beyond the Tembe, and these are some other success stories from around the Amazon, because the Amazon is quite an expansive area. And beyond that, of course, we have now a system these tribes themselves can put up in the forest, listen to all what's there, and that leads to, frankly, an awareness of what's happening in the forest, not just threats themselves, but also the sound of the animals themselves. This just matters so much because, as you heard, there's a lot going on. And the animals themselves are, in fact, the second pillar of what I think it takes for us to save the Amazon, because we actually live on this fantastic frontier of AI. AI is just oversaturated right now with human-oriented data. And yet, nature data, nature-based data, is so deficient. And here in the Amazon, we're looking at more biodiversity than exists in any other region on Earth, and it's so, as yet, so untapped. And even now, in MRV space for corporates, they're saying that the biggest deficiency right now is in nature-based data. But why does it matter to collect nature-based data? Well, turns out that with listening to the forest, can we turn it up? Yes. Listening to the forest, you're able to, of course, pick out the species, so you know which species are there. And in fact, our system, the same one you saw, is able to automatically use AI to pick things out. But that's just detection. What's really, really exciting and what's in front of us is the entire system of how we can actually listen to what the animals themselves are saying and how that can teach us what's there. This is the entire next frontier of AI, what goes beyond the human brain, the human mind. This is the next frontier, frankly, of consciousness, philosophy, and solutions. If we can mine animals themselves for solutions, ideas, and insights, that is a truly amazing use of AI. This, just for example, what you can see is a year's worth of audio. You can see the story of the year spelled out just in the sound itself, where the sun rises over the seasons is truly amazing. And this takes us to this next idea, which is that this is Earthrise. In fact, the astronaut that took this picture from the moon, the Earth rising, it was the first time people almost sort of saw the planet as a contained system. It was a really beautiful thing. This astronaut just died a couple weeks ago. And compared even to what Mr. Attias was saying earlier at the beginning of the session around Carl Sagan, then as Galileo, just from the solar system, turned around and took a picture of Earth, this pale blue dot at the end of our consciousness. And every experience we have, everything we're talking about today, takes place on this dot. But even when Carl Sagan described it, he talked about the solely human experience and completely forgot about all of the other species that are out there. And every single species is almost an entire another sense of consciousness, philosophy, and ideas that through AI, in this moment, we have the chance to mine. So the second pillar of how we can save the Amazon is to make use of this incredible opportunity here in this region to collect data that can't exist anywhere else, especially now that it's under threat. And AI is the way to do that. So if we can focus on collecting data and making use of the animals and the ideas and the insights that are there, that truly will lead to a whole new era of humanity itself, and one that would start in this region. So indigenous groups can help protect it. They can gather the data. If we gather the data, we can, in fact, listen to the animals. And if we listen to the animals, there's a lot there. So thank you so much. These are the two most exciting ways that I would love to see us protect the Amazon. Thanks so much.